Within the broad narrative of American military history, numerous leaders are honored for their courage and strategic intellect, while others are vilified for their immense failures. These commanders, given responsibility for their soldiers' lives and the results of essential engagements, became known not for success, but for their errors, pride, and poor decisions. This examination explores 4 U.S. generals whose reputations are defined by inadequacy and terrible judgment. Their choices caused terrible sacrifices on the battlefield and influenced historical directions we still see today. Join us as we explore what is often omitted about these infamous men. But prior to starting, please like and subscribe to Rootvolutionary to help our channel expand. George McClellan was born on December 3, 1826, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He finished his education at the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1846, performing well in his studies, though not especially notable in military execution. His early service included duty in the Mexican-American War, which gave him practical knowledge for his future career. When the Civil War began in 1861, McClellan was made head of the Army of the Potomac. First praised as a savior for his talent in organizing and preparing soldiers, his hesitant character soon showed. McClellan's inability to make decisions finally shaped his leadership and resulted in lost chances that might have altered the war's path. A particularly famous failure happened in the Maryland campaign of September 1862. Though holding a major numerical edge, around 87,164 Union men against General Robert E. Lee's estimated 38,000, he refused to fight. His exaggeration of enemy power was worsened by a powerful terror of losing that stopped him at key times. After getting a copy of Lee's battle plans, specific instructions that might have produced a clear win, McClellan waited to attack for many days. When he finally fought at Antietam on September 17, 1862, he did not use openings for a total victory. The battle finished without a winner with high losses for both armies. Approximately 12,401 Union troops and 10,318 Confederates were killed or injured. President Abraham Lincoln's annoyance with McClellan's inactivity ended in his dismissal after Antietam, a key moment that showed how doubt can create lost chances in combat. Lincoln famously said about McClellan's failure to act, "If he is not going to use his army, I should like to borrow it for a time." McClellan's legacy is one of missed potential. Historians frequently discuss whether a more forceful method could have greatly reduced the war. Instead, his caution left the Union Army inexperienced and not ready for future battles. His story acts as a warning that good leadership needs both planning and action. After being removed from command, McClellan campaigned for president against Lincoln in 1864 as a Democratic Party candidate, but lost badly. He spent much of his later life in different business activities before finally returning to public service as New Jersey's governor from 1878 to 1881. Despite his early potential as a military leader, history recalls him more for his defeats than his victories. George Armstrong Custer was born on December 5, 1839, in New Rumley, Ohio. He graduated last in his class at West Point in 1861, but rapidly built a reputation during the Civil War as a bold cavalry officer known for his showy style and aggressive plans. Custer's promotion through the ranks was swift. He was made a brigadier general by age 23 and gained fame for his courage at battles like Gettysburg. However, it was Custer's career after the war that would make him infamous. After the Civil War ended, he was assigned to fight Native American tribes in the Great Sioux War of 1876. Custer's pride began to overcome his military sense. He often ignored commands from superiors and acted on his own. The height of Custer's reckless ambition happened at the Battle of Little Bighorn on June 25 to 26, 1876. Ordered to attack a big coalition of Lakota Sioux and Cheyenne warriors led by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, Custer made several key errors that would lead to one of the worst defeats in American military history. Disregarding intelligence reports about the size and strength of the Native American forces, estimates indicated there were between 2,000 and 3,000 warriors. Custer split his forces into 3 groups instead of waiting for more troops. He thought he could get a fast victory against what he saw as a weaker enemy. As Custer moved forward with about 210 men toward what he believed would be a simple win at Greasy Grass, Little Bighorn, he discovered himself surrounded by thousands of well-organized Native American fighters who were ready for battle. The following fight lasted only hours. Custer and all his men were killed in action. The result of Little Bighorn changed Custer from a famous hero into a symbol of overconfidence and mistake in military command. His death became a rallying cry for American expansion and military revenge against native tribes. However, it also served as a warning about the risks of arrogance and bad strategic planning. Custer's story shows how bravery without solid strategy can lead to terrible outcomes, not just for people, but for entire countries. His legacy is complex. While he is often shown as a tragic hero who was a victim of huge odds, many historians believe that it was his own reckless decisions that caused his fall. In popular culture today, Custer is often romanticized as a classic American hero. However, historical reports show a more complicated figure whose ambition finally led him and those who followed him to destruction. Daniel Sickles was born on October 20, 1819, into a wealthy family in New York City. He studied law but quickly moved toward politics and became involved with Tammany Hall, a strong political organization known for its corruption and favoritism system. Sickles' rise through political ranks was filled with scandal. He was known for his impulsive actions and controversial decisions long before he became a general. When the Civil War started in 1861, Sickles wanted redemption by joining the Union Army, even though he had no formal military training. His connections got him a commission as brigadier general. However, it was during one critical battle that Sickles would make his reputation, though not in a good way. At Gettysburg in July 1863, Sickles commanded the 3rd Corps during one of the war's most important battles. First ordered to hold Cemetery Ridge, a strategic high ground, Sickles made an impulsive decision that would have terrible results. Against orders, he advanced his troops forward without permission into an exposed position at Peach Orchard. This risky move created major gaps in Union lines that Confederate forces used with deadly effect during later assaults led by General Robert E. Lee's army. Sickles' corps suffered high casualties because of this doomed maneuver. Estimates suggest about 1/3 of his men were either killed or wounded during fierce fighting over those 2 days. Even though it led to heavy losses among Union forces at Gettysburg, a battle finally won by Union troops, Sickles showed amazing bravery when he was badly wounded by artillery fire, but refused to be evacuated until physically carried away from combat. Sickles' actions started intense debate about whether bravery can make up for poor leadership, a question that remains in military discussions today. His controversial reputation is further complicated by his scandalous personal life. Before becoming a general, Sickles famously killed his wife's lover, Philip Barton Key, in an act driven by jealousy, a crime that held national attention and ended in an unprecedented legal defense using temporary insanity. His trial became one of America's first famous cases involving temporary insanity as a defense strategy, a legal precedent that would last long after Sickles himself faded from public view after the war years. Although Sickles kept serving after Gettysburg, eventually getting promotion to Major General, his actions during this key battle remain symbolic of how personal ambition can cloud judgment on important matters affecting troop safety. Braxton Bragg was born on March 22, 1817, in North Carolina, into a rich family with deep military roots. His father had served as an officer during Revolutionary War campaigns against British forces. Bragg attended the United States Military Academy at West Point, where he graduated 5th out of 38 cadets in the class of 1837. Bragg first distinguished himself during his service in both engagements of the Mexican-American War, before rising quickly through the ranks of the Confederate Army after secession began following Lincoln's election victory over pro-slavery candidates across southern states. However, as a commander, Bragg's leadership style alienated many within his ranks. He was notorious for being irritable and inflexible, which significantly contributed to poor morale among troops who felt unsupported or undervalued under the command structure established by Bragg throughout various campaigns fought in Tennessee during the early years of hostilities between North and South. During key battles such as Chickamauga, where Bragg achieved a significant victory against Union forces under General William Rosecrans's command, the Confederate Army ultimately failed again, due largely to a lack of coordination among subordinate leaders. This was coupled with a failure to capitalize on the successes achieved earlier in the campaign, leading to an eventual retreat from Chattanooga shortly thereafter. Bragg ultimately lost control over the situation entirely, resulting in his subsequent removal from command due to insubordination exhibited towards higher authority levels within the Confederate hierarchy. This period led to the eventual defeat experienced later down the road, following a series of setbacks encountered throughout the war effort, culminating in the defeat suffered by the Confederacy at the hands of Union forces. Bragg's contentious relationships extended beyond mere dissatisfaction. At times, subordinates openly petitioned for his removal due to his abrasive leadership style and refusal to listen to advice or collaborate effectively with other commanders. This contributed to an atmosphere of distrust among troops who felt unsupported by their leader and increasingly disillusioned with his strategies. Bragg's story serves as a cautionary tale about how effective leadership requires not only tactical skill, but also emotional intelligence and respect for one's troops, qualities that are essential for fostering loyalty and maintaining morale within an army. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for any leader aiming to inspire their soldiers and achieve lasting success. The stories of George McClellan, George Armstrong Custer, Daniel Sickles, and Braxton Bragg remind us that even those entrusted with great power can falter under pressure. Their failures highlight critical lessons about leadership. Decisiveness matters. Arrogance can lead to ruin. Personal scandals can overshadow professional accomplishments, and relationships within command are vital for success. As we reflect on these figures from history, we gain valuable insights into what it means to lead effectively, lessons that resonate far beyond the battlefield and continue to inform our understanding of leadership today. Their legacies serve as reminders that true leadership is measured not just by victories won, but by how one navigates challenges and supports those who follow them into battle. But here's where it gets interesting. What if these generals had made different choices? How might history have unfolded if they had acted decisively or listened more closely to their subordinates? Could we have seen shorter wars or fewer casualties? We invite you to share your thoughts. Do you think these generals deserve their infamous reputations? What lessons can modern leaders learn from their mistakes? Comment below with your insights or any other generals you believe should be included in this discussion. Your perspective could shed light on how we understand leadership, both past and present. Make sure to join the Rootvolutionary family by subscribing for more content that challenges the conventional historical narrative.